So I got my kid to bed, and my husband isn't working right now, so I figured this would be a good time to get in the video. And I was actually just doing some reading on some of the usual websites that I follow, and I actually came across this really interesting article that I'm going to share with you, because I think it gives a really interesting perspective into the anger that's associated with bipolar, and it also is very relevant to what I'm always talking about with the whole fight or flight response. Sorry, I'm kind of tired. My kid was a little bit hard to get to bed tonight. She wasn't too bad though. She's had much worse nights, so I shouldn't complain. But anyway, she wore me out a bit. So it doesn't really have a title, but it's basically about bipolar and the anger associated with it, and the difference between the anger that people with bipolar feel and the anger that, say, a normal person without a mental illness would feel. So I'm going to read this for you. The difference between anger and bipolar anger. Everyone gets angry. Anger is a normal human emotion and one that serves a valuable purpose. As an example, anger triggers the fight or flight response, which can help a person survive danger. During the fight or flight response, a person will automatically respond to a threat without conscious thought. Much like bipolar disorder, anger exists on a spectrum. From annoyed to enraged, all intensities of anger exist, to some extent, in the typical person. Anger, in and of itself, is not the issue. Bipolar anger, on the other hand, is a different animal entirely. Appropriate anger has a general cause and a clear way to diffuse it. Using the fight or flight example above, once the danger has been removed, the anger will begin to dissipate. When the cause of the anger is due to the symptoms of bipolar disorder, there is no clear reason for the anger and no clear way to diffuse it. In other words, since a person isn't sure what the danger is, they won't know when they have successfully fought it off or escaped it. The intensity of the anger can only escalate as a person becomes more and more desperate to defend themselves. At this point, the anger becomes uncontrollable and can be dangerous to the person and to those around them. You can replace danger with cause, and the person will be in a similar position. Since they don't know what is causing their anger, they can't resolve it. Finally, it is possible that what is angering a person has been distorted or imagined entirely. Since the anger isn't based on something concrete, the path to resolution becomes very unclear. Why bipolar anger needs to be taken seriously. Like it or not, anger can be a symptom of bipolar disorder. Just like depression and mania, anger is relatively common. It is one of the most destructive symptoms, as it relates to interacting with other people, especially friends and family. Many people with bipolar disorder describe a feeling of abandonment by loved ones. This is an excellent example of how anger can be a very destructive symptom. Whether the anger pushes a person away, or we are angry at someone who isn't as prominent in our lives as we'd like, anger can rot a person from the inside out. Ignoring anger is foolish for anyone, but it is especially foolish for someone with bipolar disorder, given what is at stake. Unchecked anger can lead to self-harm, irreparable damage in close relationships, and in rare cases can lead to violence. Managing the symptoms of bipolar disorder is a full-time job. And a part of that job is to take an honest assessment of all symptoms, even the taboo ones, from hypersexuality to suicidal thoughts to uncontrollable anger. Pretending that a symptom doesn't exist often leads to devastating consequences for everyone involved. You can't flee any of the symptoms of bipolar disorder, so your only choice is to fight. I just thought that was a really awesome article, so I wanted to share that with you. And tell you a little bit about my day, I guess. I had a pretty bad manic episode when we were at Tim Hortons. We weren't like in Tim Hortons, but we were like in the car going through the drive-thru. And my husband and I had already been driving for probably, I don't know, about half an hour or so. And we were talking about like the whole day, because I had a depressive episode earlier in the morning and then gotten out of the car and walked home from pretty far. And then, yeah, so we were talking about what had happened that morning and trying, because I still felt like this pit, like I don't know, like I couldn't get over it, like I needed to talk about it. I needed him to reassure me, I don't know, of something, that I guess that everything was okay, or that we could still salvage the day, or I don't even know what I was looking for, but I just needed to get the feeling out. So we were talking, and I was getting more and more agitated as the conversation went on. And there was this guy in front of us in a minivan with literally like the whole van full of frickin' people, and he's like ordering, of course, the whole damn menu, and the chick at the window hands him his stuff, and I guess they didn't do it right, or he wasn't happy or something, because he handed it back to them and then pulled forward like half an inch and stopped, so he, like, we couldn't pull up to the window. And I was like ready to get out of the car and freak. And finally he moved, and like how the drive-thru does is like the window's here, and then it kind of like goes up a little bit and then turns. And sorry, my camera just did something. I'm gonna check to see if it's still recording. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, the drive-thru kind of turns behind the building, so you can't see after that. So we got our stuff from Tim Hortons, and then like we went to go turn around the drive-thru area so that we could pull into the parking lot and leave. And the guy in the freaking minivan is literally parked at the in the drive-thru exit, not allowing anyone to leave. And at this point, I am like so ready to go home. I've had